right here. Would you mind? Is this filming? Yeah. In a place that was previously an XR symbol, which doesn't fade into history, it just, in our minds, it remains. Now we deal with the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. Anybody familiar with what these are?
The UN made them, right?
One guy. One guy knows. These are the Sustainable Development Goals. 195 nations around the world agreed that this would be a goal or a set of goals to achieve by 2030. Anybody know how we've done so far?
Pretty bad.
Zero, right? Kind of backwards in a way. So the reason SustainaClaus brings out this banner, by the way, this banner went to Everest Base Camp last year. This time last year it was at 5,634 meters. It's been high places. So what we're trying to do is get a vantage point on the world, right? And SustainaClaus himself, I'll introduce these characters in a moment so you understand what they're about, but basically SustainaClaus, this character here, has a list that I wish you would nominate people. It's got a naughty and nice list. Okay, SustainaClaus is naughty and nice list. What's the naughty and nice list about? Well, you're all nice people, right? You're all part of the solution simply by being here. But I think we gotta deal with these guys, the naughty ones. Right? The naughty ones are the ones that are. What's that?
What language is that underneath?
This is Polish because I was at COP24 in Poland.
Yeah.
This whole thing has been to every COP since COP21.
Yeah.
Right? And how are you doing? Is that okay? Yeah. So I'll just introduce these characters because this is significant. After 2 weeks almost, we're cleaning up the XR symbol from the Marble Arch here. Why? Because this is not over. This is just the beginning. Now, the challenge with any activity, any movement, or any action is it starts off with reality, right? Roger the Reality Rooster is waking us up. Cock-a-doodle-doo! Wake up! Right? It's waking us up to the reality. And what's the reality? The reality is that there's a lot of naughty people out there not doing nice things. Right? There's naughty people. So that's where we have to move from Extinction Rebellion, the rebellion causing us to, make notice that there's real problems that we really have to deal with. But you can't just rebel. You can't just make noise and ask for things to shut down. You've got to have a plan. And that's where LCP, or Wednesday the Low Carbon Panda, comes in. Okay, he's the three-fingered panda. It's a very unique breed of panda. And LCP, Roger's waking us up to the reality, and LCP is a lifestyle. He's a lifestyle of health, happiness, and sustainability. LCP stands for Low Carbon Panda. Okay? So pandas, if you're familiar with the panda world, pandas are pretty low metabolism animals, right? They don't move around much. They basically eat bamboo, although they are carnivores, believe it or not. They have carnivore teeth, and if they find meat on the trail, like dead carrion, they'll eat it. Okay, so they're not actually vegetarians, but they've turned to be vegetarians. And it's not since we brought them back from extinction. Because you know that story, right?
Yeah.
Pandas were on their way out toward extinction.
Yeah.
And humans basically put a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of publicity into bringing them back. And it's apparently a success story, because apparently they're off the endangered species list. Now, whether they're actually off the endangered species list is debatable, because who is on the extinction list?
Everyone else.
Us. Well, not everybody else, including the pandas, right? So yeah, we're all on the extinction list now. So here's the idea. Pandas are coming back to help us, right? We help them, they're coming back to help us. Live a lifestyle, a low carbon lifestyle of health, happiness, and sustainability. A very cuddly, fun, cute lifestyle, right? Pandas are fun and cute and cuddly. So that's what LCP represents. What is he telling us? He's alarming us. Wake up, right? He's alarming us. And this guy actually doesn't say much. He just has 3 fingers, right? 3-finger panda. What is a 3-finger panda? What is the 3-finger panda saying? Well, he's saying, smile. This is what we do every Wednesday. Wednesday is the day of change, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday is the day of change. We call it Change Wednesday. Every Wednesday we ask people, or Panda asks people to do 3 things. Number 1, smile. Smile and make other people happy. When you make other people happy, how do you feel? So you're normal. I mean, normal people feel good when they make other people feel good. So that's a good start, right, to the week, to the Wednesday. The second one is change. Change something about who? Can I change you? Say no. Yeah, you can't change other people, right? You can influence people, but you can't change them. Who can change you? Bingo. So you can only change yourself, right? So every Wednesday, every Wednesday, pick a bad habit and stop it. Right? Pick a good habit and start it. This is not rocket science. We're not asking you to change the world in one day. We're not even asking you to change you all in one day. But take one step at a time. Use Wednesday to stop a bad habit and start a good habit. You can do multiple if you're really skilled, but just at least do one, right? And then, so stop a bad habit, start a good habit, and then you've got number 3. So smile and make other people happy, change something about yourself, stop a bad habit, start a good habit. The third one is unplug. Unplug your stuff and unplug yourself. So let's deal with the unplug your stuff first. Does anyone have too much stuff? Yeah, I think most honest people say, yeah, I got too much stuff, right? So go around your home and unplug everything except your refrigerator, okay? Except your refrigerator. So, because what would happen if you unplug your refrigerator?
Waste a lot of food.
Waste food. So, the actual amount of electricity that you use as a residential electrical consumption is very, very small. Relative to the factory in your town or whatever, it's a tiny bit. But that's not the point of what we're doing. Recycling, reusing, and all this stuff, and reducing your electricity consumption is an exercise. It's not the actual, effect of how much you leave your TV on and so on. It's the habit, it's the attitude that we're trying to influence people to change. So you go around your home and you unplug everything. Yeah, that's understood. When you unplug everything, if you want to use your TV, you want to watch TV, a program, no problem. Plug it in and watch it, right? The thing is, on Wednesday, what do you do when you finish watching the program? Unplug, right? So that breaks that trance. I don't know about you, but if I watch TV, like I go click, 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 I spend 3 hours watching TV or more. So break the trance You've watched the TV program you want to watch. Now go on to the next thing you want to do, right? So it just gives you a break. Same thing for your computer. Work on your computer. When you're finished eating the electricity, unplug, right? And go on to the next thing. And why is that important? Because what we need to do is we need to look around and see if we haven't used something in, like, say, 6 months. Use your 3 fingers again, like the panda, right? Use your 3 fingers again. Give it away, lend it, or sell it. So let's start with give it away. How do you feel when you give away to charity, or you have clothes that you're not using anymore? You feel good, right? You're doing something good for society. The second one, lend it, is really critically important because, okay, say you have a hammer and your neighbor says, oh, hey man, can you lend me the hammer? And you say, sure, no problem. And you lend the hammer. And they don't return the hammer, or they return it broken, or covered in paint, or whatever, you know? And you receive the hammer back and you go, oh, okay, yeah, you know, I got it back at least, you know, 3 days later, and it's in worse condition than I lent it. Then you lend it to your other neighbor, and your neighbor goes, oh, no problem, you know, thank you very much, and they return it within the hour, shined up better than you received it. Then you lent it out. Okay, your house is on fire. You know Greta Thunberg. She says, our house is on fire. Well, your house is on fire. Who do you ask to help you get your kids out and get the buckets of water in? Who do you ask? The one that you trust, the one that respected your gift, okay? Or not a gift, your lending. Okay, well, let's apply that to our society, our community, our neighbors. Let's build up relationships. Be generous. Lend things, borrow things. You know, be a community. Don't always have to buy all the stuff for yourself by yourself. It's a very important thing. It's not about the lending. It's about the trust. It's about the relationship building with your family and friends and neighbors. Okay, so the last one I said was sell it. Right. Now, you've got stuff. What should you use the money for? Buy more stuff? No, that's the whole point, is don't buy more stuff. Right? So what we say is use it for experience. So, you know, you had 10 hammers and you sold 9 of them, so you can lend one out occasionally. You know, you have 10 hammers, so you sell the 10 hammers and you get 10 hammers worth of money. Okay, now go and eat a different type of food. Take a bus across town and take a selfie with a stranger. You know, do something odd, weird. Take a course. You know, invest in yourself. Make some education. Learn a language. Do anything, as long as it's experiential. The stuff in your back room does not build your character. It does not. You're storing Walmart stock in your back room is just saving them money, storage money. Don't do that, right? Get the things that are already manufactured into use, and use the money that you might get from it to build your own experience and your own capacity, your own character, you know? Okay, so that's your stuff. The last part of the last part. Okay, can we review for a moment? Number 1 was smile and make other people happy. Number 2 was change something about yourself, right? Stop a bad habit, start a good habit. Number 3 was unplug. And we talked about the first part of unplug, which was unplug all the stuff and then give it away, the stuff that you don't need, give it away, lend it, sell it, and use the money for experience. The last part of unplug is unplug yourself. So for 3 hours every Wednesday, turn off your cell phone and talk for 3 hours, between, I'd say, 6 and 9. Turn off your cell phone and talk to your family and your friends face to face. Play cards, play a board game, go for a walk, you know, play sports. You can't use your cell phone while you're playing basketball. You can't do it, right? So your friends will also participate in this way with you. And what does that do? When you turn off your cell phone and you talk to your friends face to face, what does it do? Exactly. It creates personal relationships. You know, it's not likes on Facebook or something else. You're creating a personal relationship. So that's it. That's ConscienceLAND, the Republic of Conscience. That's where LCP and Roger and SustainaClaus come from. ConscienceLAND, the Republic of Conscience. And we invite you to become citizens. There's no cost, right? There's no cost to be a citizen of ConscienceLAND. There's only action. There's only participation. By participating, and maybe you might take down the idea that SustainaClaus, okay, here's SustainaClaus, I think, SustainaClaus. You can go to SustainaClaus@gmail.com and you can nominate naughty and nice companies or people. Let's concentrate on the sort of the companies and let's not be, you know, beating up on individual people, because that's not really what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is encourage individual social responsibility, the three fingers. We're trying to encourage people to be responsible for their own behavior. And the Smile, Change, Unplug is just one way that we can get that happening. So let's talk. Finally, that's sort of the Change Wednesday rule for ConscienceLAND. Who knows about the 17 goals? Anybody? Does anyone know what the SDGs are? Please come around. Does anyone know what the SDGs are? What I'm standing on? Are you familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals? The SDGs. Okay, 195 nations around the world on September 25th, 2015 signed an agreement. 195 nations, that's almost the whole world. Almost all nations. Signed an agreement amongst themselves to eliminate poverty, eliminate hunger, good health and well-being for everybody, quality education for everyone, gender equality, clean water, clean energy, economic growth, which we can't manage, but you know, it's there, and responsible consumption, number 12, that's about consuming. So these goals have already been set. What's that, 4 years ago? You know, it's a long time ago. How have we done so far? Shit. You know, we haven't done well at all. And it's who drives this? I would say this drives it. Number 12. Irresponsible consumption. You know, we don't consume responsibly. We consume. We consume cheap crap. This street is full of it, right? This street is full, and lots of streets are full of it, right? We're buying crap we don't need. Remember the give it away, lend it, sell it, right? We don't need so much stuff. Now, I'm not advocating that you live in a cave and wear a hair shirt and, you know, be miserable. No. I think that you could see from what happened here over these weeks is actually when community comes together, it's quite a bit of fun. And actually, it's quite a bit of fun even when you're battling forces which are infinitely stronger than you. They have the guns, they have the jails, and we're still having fun. We're getting arrested and we're having fun. Come on. You know, really, it's quite significant. It's quite amazing that this can happen. So, you know, in the Republic of Conscience, ConscienceLAND, we brand it because there is no brand to your conscience, right? It's you. Do you know the right thing to do? Yes, you do. Why? Because there's depending on your belief system, there's a little angel over here and a little devil over here, and they're whispering in your ear, and you know what the right thing to do is. You really do. But you don't do it. Why? Because you're working in a company. You're part of some group. You have these pressures and rules, which they're good. Rules are great, and we need rules. But how about the rules of the natural world? How about physics as a rule? You know, like math. Let's deal with math. Math is immutable. We can't change the laws of physics. So let's not try to push it. Let's try to live within the planetary boundaries. Let's try to be part of the solution. So here's a great already done list, right? And we can do this, but we have to do it. So do you see the connection between wake up, lifestyle of health, happiness, and sustainability, this low-hass lifestyle, this panda-branded lifestyle? Do you see the connection? Yes? No? Yes? Yes? So you see the connection, and can we do it? Or even do we want to do it? Because I guess the final thing I'll say is that in Poland, in Katowice, Poland, are you familiar with Greta Thunberg? Okay, I have in my pocket a picture, maybe it's on that camera, but anyway, I met Greta in Katowice, and she held Roger and LCP in Katowice, and then 3 days ago, she made a video here with LCP and Low Carbon Panda, with her dad, Savante. Actually, he's not in it, it's just Greta. And what is Greta doing? She's very cute. She went, wake up, you know, beautiful. She's 16 years old, you know, she's a young girl. And she's telling the adults, wake up, your house is on fire. What are you doing about it? Isn't that something? Isn't that incredible? That we are not actually doing, I think I'm old, right? We're not doing the job that we should be doing. And those politicians are really failing. Really, they are. They're concentrated on political fighting and political, you know, EU and Brexit and all this stuff. It's a complete distraction. What does a nation matter? What does the imaginary borders on a nation matter if you've got no food? If your water system is polluted by fracking? If it's getting too hot to grow food? What does it matter? Do you think people in Syria or something really care about the border when there's internal conflict because they're running out of food? No. Do you think when you run out of food you're going to be generous and helpful to everybody else? I don't think so. I think you're going to turn into exactly what everybody else is doing. So think about that. You're not alone in the world. England doesn't dominate the world anymore. You've got to grow up like Canadians have to grow up. I'm from Canada. Like Americans have to grow up. Like the Chinese, although I will say I've lived in China for 12 years. In China, of course, the people are conditioned to now be consumers because actually they're following our Western model. But fundamentally, the people and the government in that huge nation are also aware of the problems. Why do you think they're building these cities like Ordos and so on in Mongolia, these huge cities with very little population at this time? Why? Because they like building cities? No. Because Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Guangzhou, all of Guangzhou, it would all be hot. Too hot. The glaciers melting in the Himalaya will mean there's a tsunami of water coming down when it rains because there's nothing holding it back. There's no water tower there anymore. And it'll be a trickle. It'll be a trickle of water when the monsoon stops. So that means on the plain in the Yangtze River, for example, the water will rush down, flood and push the topsoil out to sea, and then there'll be no water, virtually no water. And that will mean that the land dries out and blows away. The topsoil blows away. And I just had somebody tell me today, in England, your environment minister or somebody said in 30 years you will have the same thing here. I didn't say that. You guys talk about that. So I'm just saying, around the world, we are building cities. Well, I'm not doing it, but there are cities being built in northern areas because the governments of those countries know that climate change is real. It's expensive. It's real, but they're building it now because they have the money now. and they have the resources now. But they're smart enough to know when the crisis really hits, man, it'll be such a crisis of humanitarian scale that there won't be money to build cities and infrastructure and wind farms and solar farms and so on. All that money will go to disaster relief. You know, last year, sorry to continue, but last year I was in Typhoon Mangkhut in Hong Kong. SustainaClaus was blowing around in the wind. It was terrifying, I'll tell you. I'm not a fraidy cat. I've climbed, you know, mountains. I've done all kinds of sailing around the world. I've done a lot of adventures. I've died many times, but I come back. Not really. But I've been very, very close to, you know, very serious deaths, going through hurricanes and so on the ocean. I was scared in this thing, in this hurricane that hit Hong Kong, because there were construction cranes crashing down. You know, it's terrifying. This is a very modern city. It's very, very carefully constructed, and it's falling apart under these incredible pressures, under this incredible force of nature. It's terrifying. I'm telling you, it's terrifying. Be terrified. It's coming your way, and if it's not coming your way here, it's coming to people south of you. And they will be coming here. And if you refuse them, they'll fight you. They want to live too. So my suggestion is, let's not have that happen, right? The first thing is to change our consumption habits. Seriously, big time, big time. It's not a little fix here, it's not recycling your garbage. That's not it, it's not it. Stop making the garbage. Stop buying the garbage. And put these companies out of business. Really, really. Put McDonald's out of business. Put Coca-Cola out of business. Put them fucking out of business. Excuse my language. You know, no, I'm serious about this. You're not going to live, your children are not going to live in the world that I was so fortunate to live in. Imagine, I come from the mountains of Quebec. We drank the water coming down the mountain behind our home. Drank it. No fluoridation, no, chemicals. And I see this world, and I see these little beautiful children. SustainaClaus is concerned about children. Actually, I'm concerned about parents. I'm concerned about how parents are parenting their children, because children don't vote. Children have no choice. They have no choice in the matter. None. Zero. And what are we doing to their world? Oh, man. That's unconscionable. Any parent that is not paying attention to this responsible consumption. Well, I'm not going to make a comment about it. You understand my feelings. I'm so passionate about it. If you're not passionate about it, who is? They're not my children. They're our children. And it's our future. And if you listen to Greta, if you listen to her speeches, if you see what she says, her body language, everything, she's not compromising. She's not giving up. And I'm inspired by her. I'm old. I'm cranky, right? I'm inspired by her. She's my leader. Really. Inspiring as hell. Because she doesn't give up. She's not going to give up. Do you see her face? You think she's going to give up? Not a chance. I wish I saw that in everybody's face here. I wish I saw that determination that we are going to fix this, and we're going to fix it not only for ourselves. We are going to fix it for ourselves, but we're going to fix it for the next generations and the generations after that. Because if we don't do this now, right now, it's not going to happen. And you know what other secret? And don't let any children know this, okay? The other secret is, it's probably too late. How do you feel about that? How do you feel now? It's probably too late. I want to cry when I say that. I hope you do too. It's probably too late. And what did we do? Oh, drive our SUVs around. Oh, complain about Brexit. What the hell are you doing? Really, seriously. I'm not a politician. I don't know what I am. I'm just some very concerned citizen. Look, sweetie, come on over here. Oh, look, this darling, she did, this little girl did the Roger the Reality. You remember Roger? Yes. She remembers Roger. Roger the Reality Rooster is your friend, right? Yes. Okay. And LCP, the low carbon pen, is also your friend, right? Yes. Okay, we're chewing on some food there. It's a little hard for me to make a secret statement here, but I don't think she'll understand it anyway. The thing is, it's too late. So, as a parent, and as a citizen of the world, as somebody who cares about anything, it's up to you personally. We call it ISR, Individual Social Responsibility. It's up to you, individually, personally, every one of you. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care about anything about you as an adult. I don't really care. You're an adult. You've made decisions all your life. You've gotten to where you've gotten because of the decisions you made. This little monkey here, she can't make any decisions. She has to follow you. If you model the wrong behavior, it hurts her. It hurts her, and if anyone hurts her, I'm going to punch you in the head. And she's not even mine, right? She's just a little girl. And that's, I think, the message that we've got to start to tell other people. So what some people are inconvenienced in their job or their business for a few hours or even a week? Who cares? What if an EMP went off, not because of a nuclear explosion, but because of a sun flare or something, and it knocked out all your phones and all your buses and everything electronic? What would you do then? Complain to somebody? Really? Seriously? Who are you going to complain to? There's nobody to complain to. It's you. Are you prepared to prepare the world for these little guys, okay, so that they can live out as long as possible without worrying about their future? Don't, what's that? Oh, I'd love a cookie. Thank you. But half of it, half. There we go, thank you. So, you know, we need to share, little prop here. We need, and look at the offer. Who offered me the cookie? Did I ask for the cookie? No. This little darling girl offered me the cookie. Why? Because it's her nature. It's her nature, and that should be our nature too. What are we offering to anybody else? What are we offering to the Syrian refugees and so on? Nothing. We're offering, you know, go away. That's what we're offering. It's not good. So, remember this email, SustainaClaus @gmail.com. Think about this. Make a naughty, and write 2 different emails, okay? If you have a naughty candidate, a nominee for naughty, put naughty, all right? And put the name, or I think let's not pick on people. Politicians are fair game because they're public people, right? But don't pick on individual people. But corporations, politicians, people who are obviously part of the problem here, right? Send SustainaClaus a list. Send to SustainaClaus naughty candidates or naughty nominees, and send nice ones, of course. These, your friends, the people who are actually part of the solution, the people who are doing good work. I would say most of the people, all the people who have participated in this Extinction Rebellion, they're all trying to be helpful, trying to be part of the solution. But there's many people who are also not doing it. So 2 emails, right? Only 1 email per type classification, so that we make SustainaClaus's naughty and nice list, right? We'll eventually, gather many names and so on, many languages, all kinds of fun stuff, and then we'll publish a list. Publish a list of naughty and nice, and it'll be your list. It's not my list. I'm not making the judgment. It's your list. So we get lots and lots of people making the Roger Reality wake up video, and then SustainaClaus naughty and nice. Whoops, careful. Naughty and nice list. And then we make it available to the media. Wow, the media might even listen to you. It's not my list, it's your list. And we just assemble this long list of the problem companies and the problem people who are really making the world difficult and we can run it through a statistical analysis, and we can find out how many people, you know, think certain people are really part of the problem, and let's concentrate on getting them to change. You know, presidents of the United States, presidents of Brazil, these people, I won't say any more because I'll start using foul words, and there's children around. You know, I won't say any more about it, but how can we allow this to happen? It's the same planet I live on. How can you allow it to happen? You live on the same planet, same air, same water, same thing. Doesn't matter what country. You're going to be dead. It's not funny. It's serious. It's an emergency. It's a crisis. What are the governments around the world doing? They are ignoring it as best they can. Why? Because if they acknowledge it, if they acknowledge the letters that were going to Parliament the other day, they have to deal with it. Right? If they acknowledge receipt of this information, how much news did you find in the media? Some, and it was all very balanced reporting. You know, the pro and the con. Well, we have to deal with the economy. You know, we can't let any little merchant be hurt. Oh, but meanwhile, we can have our children have a very, 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 very bad time. So is that reasonable? No, it's not reasonable. If you're a parent, you're an uncle, you're an aunt, you're anything to do with you were a child once, each of you, you owe it to yourself. Just your own conscience, because you're all now, I've deputized you all citizens of conscience, ambassadors of the Republic of Conscience, ConscienceLAND. You're all part of it if you wish to be, and all you have to do is do something. You have to just do something. And if you help us with the naughty and nice list, you can help us share the message about Change Wednesday. You can become an ambassador. You can earn SDG tokens that we brought up to Everest. We can tell you more about how we're going to solve, not we're going to solve, how you're going to help solve these problems. Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Yummy. Yum, yum, yum. So, that's it. Look, there's other things in the world to do. Play with children, speak with children, converse with them, help them, show them that it's their world. They're not second class or third class or eighth class citizens. They should be first class because they don't have a choice. They should be the thing that we look after first, and not just little person animals, even little worms and bugs and everything else, birds and whales and panda bears and so on. We can't live without them. So let me finish off there because I can talk forever. If anybody wants to continue to hear me talk, put up 3 fingers. Oh, what's that? Your question, absolutely. Please.
My question is it possible to have a clean air or get rid of pollution with the present system? I mean, with the...
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So which kind of society or decision making body we have to build?
Okay, well, that's a fantastic question. So this gentleman's asking, can we achieve these goals with the current system? And I don't think so. I don't think we can. I think that because of the corruption basically in our human nature and certainly in the political systems. I mean, look at Brazil, for example, and the United States. You know, it's not going to happen. The 195 countries that signed this are not living up to it. So I think the current system is not going to work. Now, you know, in XR, we had these citizens' assemblies. We had these, you know, citizens speaking directly, and in fact, I don't know if you were there, some of you were there, outside the parliament, that we chanted like each question repeated. This is how citizens' assemblies work. You know, everybody understands the questions and everybody understands the responses, the suggestions of how to respond to the question. Everybody understands and they relay it amongst themselves. And then ultimately they come to a consensus on how that works. So that is a start. It's not going to solve it in a big sense because that's a very community, small interaction between individual people. But we do have a solution. Our project, ConscienceLAND, has a solution. And if you've heard of the blockchain, you know what blockchain technology is. Now don't get all excited about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is one of the currencies that is the first one to use blockchain technology, but blockchain is simply a distributed ledger. It's called a DLT, a distributed ledger technology. All it is a big bloody accounting sheet through which transactions go from credit to debit to credit to debit to credit to debit to credit to debit, and you're one credit and we're one debit, right? And so it's a very simple thing, but the beauty of the blockchain is it's immutable, okay? You want to play with this guy? Come, stand over here. So the beauty of it is it's immutable. You can't destroy it. You can't destroy it. Now you've got social credit systems which we're developing. You've got UBI, Universal Basic Income systems, which we're incredibly. Yes, I know this, sweetie. Do you want to dance together? You guys dance a bit. Dance around it. Let's continue to talk. So we have a lot of plans. All of them are feasible. None of them involve parliamentary democracy, communist single-party state. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If you think about it, if you stand back from it, all of those systems were just great to get us here. But now they're not working. They're not working because the world is becoming the world itself is becoming so regional, right? We can only work in our regional biomes, our regional food systems, our regional water. We can't be transporting water all over the world in kiwi fruit. We can't do it. I mean, we're doing it, but we're wasting enormous amounts of water and energy to do so. We can't continue to do that. So we've got to bring communities back to communities, right? We've got to bring communities back into community sense. So there's all kinds of things. You heard about the 3 fingers, smile, change, unplug. That's all about community creation, right? And then we have to start buying locally. What's responsible consumption? It's buying locally, basically, responsibly. Buy vegetables from the local. You've heard of locavore. Locavore, like eating with food from like within about 100 kilometers, I think, or something like that. Anyway, the idea is being, think of it, globalization is basically elite people, right, who own ships, planes, and other modes of transport, trucking systems, and they move stuff around to make money. That's it. It's not more complicated than that. They find kiwi fruit, and kiwi fruit's a good example. They find kiwi fruit it actually comes from China, but anyway, kiwi fruit in New Zealand, and they ship it, often by air, right? Because kiwi fruit would get rotten by the time a ship gets anywhere, right? So by air, they fly it to Canada and Lincoln. They fly it. It's fruit. it's oh, you're strong. It's a fruit, and it's water, and it's crazy. So what we need to do is start to be responsible consumers. We have to, maybe you're interested, you're welcome to follow our plan. It's called the SDG token, and it's part of how do we, non-monetary, it's not about money, it's a reputation system. How do you earn social credit? How do you operate within smaller communities? Like, communities didn't have money before. They had reputation. If someone was a good manufacturer of shoes, everybody bought their shoes or got their shoes from that person that made the shoes. Whoever grows the best vegetables, they got, it was a trading system primarily, but it was also just a community. It's only when government started to collect grain in a centralized place that we needed, that food became unfree. Food grows freely, right? But it's just governments, in order to expand the size of their communities and the breadth of their communities, they started to store grain and distribute grain. And as soon as you got that, you got a currency. You've got this, food is the currency. So what happened in the Arab Spring? Why did people rebel? Food shortage, right? It's very basic. any society, as soon as you screw around with food, bad things happen, right? Revolutions happen, and usually violent, because when people get hungry, they get really angry, and they care about their children more than they care about some guy that's standing at the gate of the granary. So think about that. The money is really, you can't eat money. Like Chief Seattle says, you know, only when the last tree has died and the last river has been poisoned and the last fish has been caught will we realize we cannot eat money. You know, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, this guy said that, as the Americans were, you know, taking their land. So this is a really important point. We're moving from a money culture, like a fiat currency culture, towards some kind of other systems. Now, blockchain just happens to fit in there. We have to fix some problems with blockchain, because right now it's proof of work, which is very energy intensive. We have to move to proof of stake and other proofs to make it work. But don't worry, it will evolve. You know, we didn't start off with cell phones. We started off with landlines. So don't worry about that. We will fix it. It will be fixed. But in the meantime, we've got to work on ourselves. How we want money. Stop it. Stop focusing on the money. Focus on the children. Focus on their needs and their needs for the future, and start cooperating with each other to do essentially what's being happening here. You know, get the food resources shared. Get the shelter resources secured so nobody sleeps on the street. And as it gets harder, get people to move. You know, communities will have to move. They're happening already. Imagine Bangladesh. You know, in Bangladesh, India is building a electrified wire fence around Bangladesh. Why? Huh? Because people are going to move out of Bangladesh. Now what are they going to move up against? Electrified fence. How nice. How welcoming. But you know, the Indians have their own problem. And I work in Nepal quite a bit. I work in the western part of Karnali and up in Rara Lake area. This is going to be overwhelmed very shortly, because as the Tarai in India gets very hot, where do people go? They go to a cooler place. So they go up into the mountains where the valleys are very narrow, and the where you make food is a very tiny strip. So the people actually live on the side of the mountain, and they farm every square centimeter of the land. So what do newcomers do? Do they build a nice little stilt house on the side of the mountain? No. They take a plot right here, and they'll fight you to keep a place to sleep and stay. So that reduces the amount of arable land. You've got conflict automatically. Let me tell you a positive thing. I think the crowd is getting depressed. I'm sorry. I apologize. You know, so let me tell you something positive. It's fun. It's a game. We're developing a game called plotting. P-L-O-T-T-I-N-G. Plots. Okay? And the game of plotting, imagine the world, and the world is divided up into 3 meter by 3 meter plots, areas. All right? You want to help children in Nepal at an orphanage. Okay, you know where it is. You look it up on the Google Maps, and you look at and you choose a plot, this 3 by 3 area, over that orphanage, and you say, I am the steward of that plot, that plot of conscience. You don't own the land underneath, that's somebody else's, but it's a stewardship of that 3 by 3 area. And you can have multiple 3 by 3 areas, all contiguous if you want. But that one area is yours to do good. So you choose for an orphanage, maybe hunger, right? You choose to contract an NGO in the region. Okay, not an international NGO, screw them. You get a local NGO or non-government organization or social enterprise to bring that food to that orphanage and feed them. And so no poverty, good health, you know, doctors, education, you bring teachers, you contract this all out. And you color in your plot with those colors, okay? Just to give you an idea of like how to make it colorful. So these are the things that you're doing on that plot. Okay, you donate through our system, direct donation. You donate to the people who are agencies who are going to help the children learn. So you donate the money, but it goes into escrow. It goes into an account, basically, until you validate, you verify. Now initially, let's say you wanted to plant trees on that plot. This is an easier example. You wanted to plant trees. Here, life on land, okay? You wanted to plant trees on this plot of land. Okay, you get an agency to plant the trees. They say they're going to plant in a 3x3 area, 10 trees. So, you put the money in escrow, you use an AR, VR, drone-related thing to look and see a satellite picture to verify that the damn trees have been planted. You push a button, it releases the money to the tree planters. Bingo bongo, it's done. Plus, you've got data. You've got data on how many trees were planted in that 3x3 area. They're planted at such and such a date. They were planted by such and such a person, and you can keep track of that data, and it's also your social credit. You did something good for the planet, you get credit. You are now a participant in our cooperative. You are now a participant in the UBI, the pile of money that's made by the various clean energy systems and all the other inventions and so on that are part of the Republic of ConscienceLAND. So the money that's raised, the money that's accumulated for the purpose of solving the SDGs is shared, not today, not in 3 years, but maybe in 7 years or 10 years. When you need the UBI, when you need the universal basic income, because robots and AI have taken over your jobs. So you don't have a job anymore, but you have been working. You've been working as a steward of the earth, defined by 3x3 plots on which you have a token of deed. You have a deed, it's immutable, it can't be changed, it's yours, you can trade it, you can sell it, you can give it. Imagine the farmers in the Campesina, and you do a virtual deed on their property, and then you help them get a real deed on their property, on the blockchain. That would be great. So I'm guessing, you like that idea? I have one positive vote. I think 2 positive votes, 3 positive votes. Okay, 3 fingers, guys. Here, let me take a picture of you guys, because you've been such a fantastic, where's my camera? Oh, you got me. Here, let me take a picture of you guys. Would you, gentlemen, lady, would you hold the panda? Would you hold the rooster? Okay, can I ask you to hold the naughty and nice? Nice? You're naughty. Okay, you're not naughty. No, I'm not. You're just a cool guy. Okay, guys, so let's just take a group photo, all right? And 3 fingers of society, environment, economy, and balance. All right, there we go, and we get that side in a moment. All right, society, environment, economy, and balance. This is the sustainability symbol. I'm going to do a little video and say, thank you everyone for listening to the Republic of Conscience. These are the SDGs. You are the solution. Do you believe it? Okay, so say, bak, 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 wake up! One more time. Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. And any questions you have, please ask me. I'm here to try to save the planet. Yes.
Inspiring.
Ah, thank you. That's so nice. Thank you very much. So but please ask me questions, because that's the whole purpose of being here. Yeah.
You have some videos or stuff online as well?
Well, not really. Yeah, I have some.